Hello, and welcome to the Middle East Made Simple. If you know anything about Sunni Shia conflict in the Middle East, then you're probably thinking, there's no way this guy can explain this in under 10 minutes. And, well, you would be right. I'm not going to be focusing on the minute details of who fought what battle or who the third caliph was. Instead, I'm going to be focusing on what initially caused the division, as well as what being a Sunni and Shiite state really means in the world today. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's get started. Sunnis and Shiites both practice the five pillars of Islam, and while they have different interpretations, the foundations are the same. The first being profession of faith. This is the belief that there is no other God but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. Then, prayer. Muslims pray facing Mecca 5 times a day, at dawn, noon, mid-afternoon, sunset, and after dark. Sunnis pray these 5 times a day, while Shiites condense these prayers into 3 times a day. Alms, in accordance with Islamic law, Muslims must donate a fixed portion of their income to their community based on need. This raises an important point about Islam. Islam encompasses every part of life, from economics to art, culture, and even how you should properly govern. The next pillar is fasting. During the daylight hours of Ramadan, the ninth month of the Islamic calendar, all healthy adults that are Muslim are required to abstain from food and drink. The final pillar is pilgrimage. Every Muslim who is healthy and whose finances permit must make a visit to Mecca at least once. Let's go to the beginning of the Sunni Shia divide. In 623 AD, following the death of Muhammad, Abu Bakr, the closest advisor of Muhammad, who was also his father-in-law, believed he should assume both political and administrative control, and rely on the general consensus of the Islamic institutes for decision-making about Islamic practice. Ali Talib, Muhammad's first cousin, had different plans. He believed that he was the rightful heir to Muhammad, and as a prominent member of the military, he had a significant amount of supporters. Unfortunately for Ali Talib, Abu Bakr made a series of decisions that solidified his position as the rightful heir of Muhammad, one of which was making pilgrimage to Mecca in 631, and conducting a public prayer in Mecca in Muhammad's place because Muhammad was ill. Followers of Ali Talib decided they were better off starting and practicing their own interpretation of Islam. Today, Sunni Muslims make up approximately 80% of Muslims, and Shiites are about 20%, although there are subsects of Islam like Ibadism and Wahhabism that we'll talk about later. Now that we've covered the initial split of the group, we're going to have to skip ahead a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. We're going to skip to modern times to see the ramifications of the split and what they mean in the modern world. At this point, Sunnis and Shiites have lived together in relative peace for centuries. Modern conflict is less about conflict between individual Sunnis and Shiites, but rather an awkward power balance between Sunni and Shiite states, attempting to gain control in the region. Trust me, it makes a whole lot more sense when looking at a map. The Sunnis are light green and reside in the majority of the Middle East. The dark green are Shiites, who are predominantly located in Iran, with parts in Yemen, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran are not known for being the most peaceful places on Earth, and many attribute this to conflict sparked by Iran. Iran has a vested interest to stir conflict in order to embolden its position by attempting to make Shiite allies by funding radical Shiite groups. In order to balance this, the Sunni states in the Middle East like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Egypt, and Yemen have recently strengthened ties. These states have become so close that they've chosen to diplomatically isolate Iran and one of its close partners, Qatar. Saudi Arabia plans to quite literally cut them off from the Arabian Peninsula by digging a canal that would sever them. The multipolar system in the Middle East of Sunni and Shiite aligned states provide a bitter, cold peace in the region. at least between states, that is. The Iranians continue to fund extremist groups who commit terrorist acts. The death and destruction won't stop anytime soon. The 1 ounce of hope is that while there is conflict, the 5 basic pillars of Islam, as well as accepting Muhammad as the messenger of God, are common beliefs among these two. Sunni and Shia Islam are not the only forms of Islam. Ibadism and Wahhabism are fascinating interpretations. If you'd like to learn more, hit subscribe and click the bell button. I look forward to engaging with you in the comment section.